Hello and welcome back to Loren, the Amazon Princess. I haven't really done anything since the last video apart from a tiny bit of inventory management in that I gave this Ring of Fire resistance to Alphysmo, since he's the one who always seems to get wiped out whenever they throw a fireball at us in the sort of opening move. So other than that, nothing new, so let's continue. Back in the city, the homes that were once burning were now being rebuilt, not only by the help of the Empire soldiers, but by the Elven Rangers as well. Together the two sides helped fix what the demons had too easily destroyed. My men told me that the army has dispersed. I could hardly believe it, but they're gone. Not one blasted orc to be found. Eleanor was more difficult than we had imagined. Sorry. Sorry, for some reason I read out the character name there without thinking. It was more difficult than we imagined, but it's over now. That man will terrorize no one any longer. I said I would deal with him, and I have. I suspect that the council will recognize this. Yes, I will personally vouch for your leadership. I did not think I would say that, believe you me. He gave the group an elusive grin. There is still much to be done around here. If you could lend a hand or 10, this town would be obliged. Loren nodded. She directed everyone to help do what they could in cleaning up the town, healing the wounded, and restoring homes. It was in this time that Eleanor came to realize Loren's charitable side. It was hard to consider her a selfless person by her serious, even harsh way of speaking and acting, but watching her in action outside of battle showed her that there was a whole side to her that she tried hard to conceal. Being Amazon royalty did come with certain expectations, she supposed, but it was more than just learning to find the more favourable sides of Loren. She was actually becoming a better person. Even just in the brief time that they had spent together, she saw growth in her, and even in herself for that matter. But it was Loren who would one day be Amazon Queen and leader of the world's greatest army. As far as Eleanor was concerned, she was born ready. So, yep, that was that quest. I think the only quest I've got left now is, yep, stop the succubus, so go over there. Right, I'm going to go through my usual quickie. Nope, nothing to say. Nothing. Amakuki was still recovering from his duel with Kroll. He was outmatched, but only through trickery. You did a good job. I did not win. You're alive. And honourless. Kroll was not yours to kill. I'm sorry we intervened, but we had to. The orcs were swarming you. I told you one of us was going to die that morning. I asked you to let me fight him. You said you would. You're alive, and I don't regret that for a second. Hate me if you want. Amakuki's eyes twitched from glaring at Eleanor too hard. She figured she should leave the gladiator alone. I can understand why that was one heck of a fight. Against Kroll and the orcs, yes. I know we were trying not to fight the whole army, but it sure felt like we did, didn't it? I'm surprised how difficult that encounter was as well. I'm even more surprised by Dora. You're surprised? I nearly exploded. Bet you're happy she's safe and sound. Got so mad when that slime hover picked her up, nearly exploded then too. I'm just glad everything worked out in the end. Yes, as I was about to say, I can understand why Amakuki's kind of annoyed, but we did kind of save his ass, which he would have won that fight, let's be honest. How are you feeling now that Kroll is dead? Sorta nothing. Revenge isn't that sweet. Boo. Don't you feel good for having avenged your family? Maybe if I had actually killed him with that first stab, then he picked me up and made a fool of me. Don't think of it like that. Not all battles are clean victories, most of them aren't. Look at Amakuki. The duel did not end cleanly for him either. He was also taken advantage of, but he is still the victor, and that's all that matters. Take pride in your victory. I suppose. It's just my family ain't coming back no matter what I do, you know? I don't know why I ran off. I thought I'd kill them all by myself, but I ain't no assassin. I didn't know what to do when I got there. And, well, I was scared. So I hid again, like I always do. Like an orc. They're icky. I believe that. So anyway, family's still dead. Didn't kill Crumble myself. And I smell like an orc. Kroll is dead, and you helped. You're a team, remember? That's right, we're a team. Teamwork. I did my part, and you guys did yours. That's right. Terribly sorry, throat's a bit croaky. I'm glad you understand now. I get where she's coming from. She's not in the mood. That's Loren. Nope, she's got nothing new to say. Queen probably doesn't. Nope. Nothing new with Draco. Nothing new with her. Nothing new with him. Right. So, we now have to head to... okay. We now have to head to Grand Tree to fight the succubus. Really? I thought... okay. Could have sworn this is where I had to go. Huh. Task? That's just generic stuff. Okay, let's visit the shop just because I'm here. Might as well sell all this junk. Got anything she can use? No, not really. Okay. So where do I have to go then? Dark Elves? Loren led the party with a word from General Astram to meet up in the Dark Elf village outside of the forest. All they knew was that there was a rogue demon wandering the desert, looking to recruit the Dark Elves to the Everburn Mountains once more. When they approached the Dark Elf village, however, something was off. Very off. All of the Dark Elves were standing in the centre of town, in rank and file, staring almost blandly ahead at Astran and his troops. The general was, against all reasoning, brandishing a sword at Tabar, but even the Elder Elf seemed undaunted by the army before him. What's wrong? What is happening? Mer and Loren ran to Astran. Why are you challenging the Dark Elves? We came to fight a demon. We were too late. They've chosen to side with the demons. Mer almost dropped her staff in horror. No! Impossible! No! Tabar? I do not believe it. The Elder Dark Elf's face was emotionless, but with a flick of his hand, several elves behind him leapt forward, prepared to kill. Okay. No, let's take her out. Because I like to have them organised like this for no good reason. Darn it. That move is annoying. Okay, hit them with an attack of bees. They're weak to water and weak to air. So the bees are effective. Ice Blast 2 might actually be sufficient to take the entire back row out. Let's try it.
Try this on for size.
Oh! That's aggravating. I'll strike that guy. Cookie, strike that guy. Elnor, switch forward. And strike that guy. And a Cookie, strike that guy. Malfismo, regenerate. Okay. So the question is, why have the Dark Elves sided with the demons? I'm suspecting this has something to do with the succubus. Oh, that's not good. Okay, Loren. Decapitate him.
You're dead.
Move not actually called decapitate, but I don't care because that's what the symbol on it looks like. Okay. Full-on stinging swarm will kill at least 3 of them.
No more.
Do severe damage to the last one, so that's fine. Yeah, it feels like doing overkill is for doing 160 odd damage feels like overkill for a guy with 2 health left, but okay.
Try this on for size.
Freeze him and kill him. Easy peasy. Roll crossbow. That's fine. The Dark Elves crumbled into a heap. Elnor felt guilty beyond relief, knowing that they were not in their right minds. These elves have been bewitched, even Tabar. They all have been. That demon has ensnared them, perhaps beyond recovery. There was a clear look of pain in his eyes when he turned to face Tabar again. The elder raised his hand as if to call for another attack. Friend, please! There was a hesitation in Tabar's order. But then he ordered it just the same. Several Dark Elves jumped out from behind him to attack the party again. Astram immediately ordered the submission of the Dark Elves, and he personally sought to quell Tabar himself. Loren, Elnor, and the rest of the party had no choice but to defend themselves in the ensuing chaos. Good one, so. bleeding. I really need to heal him, but other than that, we are good to go. Okay, so healing touch. Great nature's touch. I'm gonna keep getting the names of these spells wrong, by the way. Hey. Resistance paralysis at all? Yeah, you are resistant, so I'm not even going to bother. Just put regenerate on. Next one gets a shot is Draco, which is good. So what are you weak to? You are weak to ice and weak to...
I don't like it.
Freezing blast. Loren, strike. Hamakuki, taunt. Armor. Strike. I'd say those healers are going to be annoying, I suspect. Yeah. Yes, yes. Well, I can hit them with, I suspect, both Draco and wow, she's really far back. Okay. Here's another taunt. And strike. Strike. Not quite enough to be fatal. He has under 50%, has a 30% chance of killing now. It's just doing a one strike. Okay, Alpha as well. They are resistant to paralysis. Well, let's try it anyway. I'm not honestly expecting it to work, but it's an attack that will damage all of them, so it's worth doing. Okay, another blizzard. They're probably going to use another couple of cure-alls. Yes. This fight is going to take a while. Alright, you want to play like that? Bees.
Why are you doing this?
Because bees are excellent, that's why. Yuki. Again. Loren. Him. Oh, that's very bad. Damn it! Stop knocking out my wizard! Oh, this is getting silly. Right, you done? Good. Blizzard.
I hope this is slightly uncomfortable.
Strike. Hammer. Bees.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, and that's both of the healers out of the equation. Good. Okay.
Wall.
Meteors. Striker attack is quite annoying. Doing damage to probably my weakest person in terms of raw health. Wizard Blast. Strike. Because I'm not convinced we won't be going into another fight immediately, I'm going to heal him now. Because I can afford to.
Try this on for size.
Longsword, okay, good. The desert winds whipped through the village, clouding everyone's view, but Tabar's magic shot clear through the haze. The Elder was fighting with strength he hadn't seemed to possess before. His targets were none other than his old friend, Ashtran. Even though the general was a capable warrior, Tabar's new magic was far more deadly. A powerful spell knocked Ashtran off his feet, and he fell squarely on his back. He was rendered weaponless, and the Elder Elf moved in for a final blow. Loren could stand by and watch no longer. Oh dear, we've got to fight Tabar. Don't particularly want to do this, because I reckon Tabar's a good bloke. But Yes, I was right to heal him up. Alright, so both Myr and Draco are fighting on this round. So I can hit them with these. Serious damage to that back row. Hit a lot of them with paralysis that I don't expect to hold, but it's worth it for the raw damage it does. And I've Draco hit the back row with ice. Dead. Dead. Badly wounded. Heavy strike. Strike. Fatal strike. And it's Amakuki again. Strike there. That's Animal. Nah, it's not worth that. Not for that damage. Strike him. And misses. Don't know if he's got any healing spells. He doesn't appear to. Otherwise I would have expected him to use one. Oh, he keeps getting pummeled. Pummeled. One word or the other. Let's go with beaten up and just damage, dead. You can hit them both.
Why are you doing this?
Take them out. Good. Not too difficult to fight. Another magic staff, a couple of gems. Okay. Oh no, you don't! Ray sent a crossbow bolt flying in Tabar's direction. It made contact right through the Dark Elf's hand. Tabar did not howl or scream as one would expect. Instead, he dropped his staff and staggered. Without his hand, he would be unable to cast any more spells. Tabar, no! And then he dropped to the ground, as if whatever was possessing him had decided to discard him. Ashtram watched with dread. He rushed to Tabar's body. Everyone, elf and soldier alike, stopped fighting to see if the elder elf had been killed. He's alive. They looked to Alphysmo, approaching Tabar. He is just unconscious. Whatever it was that had a grip on his mind, I sense that it has fled. He only needs time to recover. He was being mind-controlled? By whom? The demons, of course. We know exactly who is responsible. Who? This is the work of a rare type of demon. A succubus. Her mind-controlled magic is truly some of the most dangerous, as you see what it can do. Turn friend against friend. Ashtram lowered his eyes to the sand. He shook it off and looked back up. That demon may think she has won the Dark Elves, but you need to tell her that she's wrong. Her next move is likely to target the Forest Elves and corrupt them as well. We will not allow that to happen. What of the other Dark Elves? Everyone looked back at the mindless elves standing, still awaiting Tabar's command. They look helpless without their leader, but they will not return to themselves until the demon responsible is killed. Let's hurry then. Also, Ashtram rubbed his neck. There's a dark elf on the loose, Tabar's son. He didn't look like the rest of the elves. Myr gasped and looked away. Mesfit? Who? I'd watch your backs if I were you. So there's a new player, is there? Someone we don't know. Okay, he's got nothing to say. 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 This is starting to become a common theme. She's got nothing to say. 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 Who exactly is Mesfit? He's the known leader of a gang of dark elves originating from the neighbouring desert. He has acted as the face and voice of all dark elves and is very much an outlaw. Why? He started as a troublemaker, petty thievery and vandalism, but unfortunately it got much worse. Elves, even children, were being kidnapped and ransomed, and recently one of our elders was murdered. He left a threatening note, so we know it was him. He sounds like a cruel person. Ray informed me that he has made a demon pact, just as his ancestors did. What? It explains so much. I originally thought the Dark Elves still had demon traces inside of them, as did all the druids before me. The demon blood would upset the forest and we would cast them out. Or perhaps it's only specific Dark Elves that cause the forest pain. What does that mean for the Dark Elves? It means I was wrong about them. We all were. Mer fell into silence. Interesting. So what does he know? Do you know anything about this Dark Elf, Mesfit? Ray glowered just from hearing his name. Yes, it was my kill. I was to take him down. You were to assassinate him. Why didn't you? Plenty of reasons. For one, I am not a sloppy shooter. I am meticulous and I am smart. I don't just charge off into the Dark Elf's village asking for him. Secondly, Mesfit is not normal. He has super speed and unnatural senses. I've had to relearn everything I know about the chase. And there is a lot of chasing. He flees at the slightest hint that I am near. Then there is the matter that he's always surrounded by his followers. My best options are assassination from cover, but there isn't much of that in a desert. When he does enter the forest, he's too quick for me to respond and catch him. Really, he has been by far my most difficult prey. I see. I'm sorry I doubted you. Apology accepted. Okay, I got some more loot, but I don't think anything was... no, boring. Is that better than this one? Yeah, it's slightly better. I mean, I don't use range attacks with Eleanor much, but it's worth having it just in case. Okay, let's leave the party camp, and I'm assuming now... I'm assuming I go to outskirts. The group pressed through the forest, looking for any signs of a demon. Mer hesitated. I cannot go with you. The pain... It is too much to be in the forest along with demons. You are still not used to it yet? I'm not sure I ever will be. Very well. Go back to the village with the general. We'll return soon. Mer nodded and left with a wary look over her shoulder. Loren led everyone deeper into the forest. The succubus could not have gotten very far. There was no breeze, no chirping birds, no wandering animals, nothing. Is it just me, or did the forest get really creepy from the last time I was here? It's definitely way more... Dora screamed, and she almost ran into an elf woman, and standing silently behind a tree. Whoa, you scared me, sorry. Hi? The elf was unresponsive, staring straight ahead. Another. Alphysmo pointed to yet another elf, standing stoically within the trees. Yes, very, very creepy now. More slaves to the demon's magic. Do not harm them if it can be helped. They're innocent. Ray approached one of the elves, sick to his stomach from seeing his people rendered hollow. He reached up to touch the elf archer, to see if he could shake him from his trance. When Ray's hand touched him, the elf suddenly grabbed him. The archer's grip felt as if it would break Ray's hand until he managed to pull it free. Dora screeched as the elf she was standing near suddenly lunged at her. More mind-controlled elves appeared and pulled out their weapons. We have no choice now. Your party set up. So one of my mages has vanished, so let's put in the other mage. This is why I keep lots of mages on hand. Come on. We've got lots of mages on the enemy thing, which is causing lots of damage to the whole group, which is annoying. They're pretty powerful, granted, but still. Right. So Loren gets first strike. And Shambara. Okay, so what are they weak to? Critically affected by wind, do they? I think she's got me wind power, unfortunately. Nope, so let's just hit the front row with poison. Because poison is awesome. Yes, you heard it here, folks. Poison is awesome. Alphysmo. They have no serious defense against paralysis, so let's try it. Get him out. Worth a shot. Oh. Strike that one. Okay. Druid is weak to fire. Let's use a Mark III Fireball. Do we think? No, I'd rather be sure of taking the Druid out, so I'll use a Mark I Fireball.
Slightly uncomfortable.
That'll do decent damage to those two as well. Next move use Amakuki.
They were not a worthy match.
Loren's next. Strike. He can't move. Blood Boil, take those two out. He still can't move. And he's dead. Fabulous. What the? When did he survive? I seriously could have sworn I killed him. Oh well. Doesn't matter, we couldn't do a lot. Excellente. They were forced to kill the elves. Loren grimaced, looking at their bodies. What unholy magic is this? It is a crime greater than any I've seen. A faint giggle reached their ears, sending a chill up their spines. You flatter me. They all whipped around and saw the figure of a demonic woman, standing with surprising ease amongst the carnage. She took her hand off her hip and started to strut towards them, her high heels delicately stepping over bodies as if they were nothing. Who are you? A monstrous elf stood by her side. He looked unlike any dark elf that they had met before. Well, well. You know him? Do I know him? The dark elf who kidnapped our children and murdered our elder. Yes, I know him. I'm not surprised these friends with the demons. Explains a lot. Do not look her in the eyes. She'll try to possess you. The party members promptly looked away and shielded their eyes, but Jewel merely laughed. I can't seem to move. Me neither. What's going on? Fear set in as their limbs suddenly were too heavy to lift, trapping them in their bodies. Loren, however, used all of her strength to reach for the hilt of the Envo blade. She lifted the handle, and the blade started to glow vibrantly. Jewel hissed as if repelled by the sword itself. You foul creature! Loren could only challenge the demon with a fierce look, which unfortunately allowed Jewel to work her unholy magic, penetrating Loren's mind. Within moments, Loren's will to fight disappeared, and her hand fell to her side. Loren! No! A choking sensation cut Eleanor off, so she focused only on trying to breathe. The potency of this one demon's magic was beyond what they could bear. Even the talented Alphysmo was barely cognitive. But what was most unmistakable was the deep desire in the eyes of certain party members for Jewel, and only her. Even Loren's wrath had melted into lust. Jewel walked around Loren seductively, using the tips of her fingers to tease. Now, hasn't anyone told you it's impolite to stare? Eleanor's eyes widened at the demon's advances on her mistress. She'd never seen Loren look at someone with such hungry eyes before. Eleanor began to sweat, wishing she could break free of whatever was locking her place, to rush up and pull Loren to her, and away from the demon. She moved next to Ramus, running a silky hand through his hair. He visibly shivered. Dora looked pained at the sight. Look what you're making me do. She grazed past Karen, again using her eyes to ensnare them further. Karen's chest heaved. She'd never felt anything so wonderful as Jewel's touch. You've all been a thorn in my lord's side from the very beginning. She dove in close to Ray's face, and his eyes followed her intensely. To his disappointment, Jewel broke away and fell towards Amakuki. In almost the same moment, she leaned against his chest, and he gulped. You couldn't just shrivel up and die. You couldn't even let our war take its course. You should have just stayed home. Jewel whispered directly into Sowser's ear. His back went rigid, losing all of his monk training in just the blink of an eye. She then stepped over to Chambara, sliding her soft fingers behind her head and through her hair. Chambara's eyes were heavy and her smirk very pronounced. Now I have to punish you. If we can't kill you, then we'll just use you. Like toys. Jewel slunk devilishly in front of Draco and grinned. Wouldn't you like to be my little toy? I have the option. Oh good, I thought you were going to brainwash us. Just mark me down as a no-go for the toy thing. She flashed her eyes intensely. Draco squeaked and grabbed his throat. None of you have a choice. You're all mine. And why? Because I said so. Because I get what I want. And because you make it so incredibly easy for me. A raspy groan kept Jewel from ranting further. She looked around and realized the sound was coming from Loren, no longer looking bewitched. What's that? Are you trying to speak? Or are you just moaning in pleasure? Loren's groan turned into a growl, steadily gaining volume and ferocity. Soon her mouth opened, and she was able to actually shout. Her yells strengthened, louder, harsher. Loren was unleashing the most mighty war cry anyone had ever heard. Looking Jewel dead in the eyes, the demon was no longer smiling. The sound was so large she had to take a step back. Eleanor began to feel in control of her own body again. Arms, legs, head, mouth. Loren! Loren! It was strange for her first words, but her name filled her with a strange security and liberty that she so desperately needed right then. How are you doing this? How can you shake my magic from your voice only? Eleanor saw Loren grab the hilt of her sword. The others around her made small movements as Jewel's magic faded completely away. No, filthy mortals! You're under my... The ember blade flew out from its sheath and cut through the air just in front of the demon, only missing her by a hair. Loren's shout ended, and she caught her breath. Everyone around her pulled out their weapons as well, now impervious to Jewel's charms. You're beyond annoying. I'm bored of you. Owen will do what that stupid green goblin could not. Mesfit! The demonic dark elf stood, waiting by Jewel. He was stoic, as if he were a pet waiting a command. Shut up! Jewel pointed right at Loren. Make sure she dies the most painfully. Mesfit bowed forward to obey. Whoa, I've just noticed I've gone over my timer not inconsiderably. So that's probably a pretty decent point to leave this video, and I'll jump straight into the next one. So thank you very much for watching. See you in the next part.